we conceived Origo at that particular point of time that this would be the ease of doing supply chain business in India. Then we started to think of who the partners would be for us. So we said it would be anybody who's a buyer, anybody who's a seller, anybody who's a warehouse owner, and anybody who's a lender. These are four or five key main areas. And of course, we have other partners who support us, who are insurance and other things. But our key day-to-day interaction is essentially with buyers, sellers, and lenders and warehouse owners. So we started integrating that platform. We started small. In the first day, we started with 3 states. Okay, we said, let us create this ecosystem where anybody can call us who was part of the ecosystem and let them provide their own services. And to the other counterparty, we'll be the front end to provide that service. Okay. So we started to ease out that pressure. So we said, okay, let's start with warehousing. Slowly, we added the procurement capability. Then we added our financing capability as well. Over the first 6-7 years, what our journey entailed was essentially that we became, I think we were in about 12 states by that time. We were a major player with the government providing plainly warehousing services. We were working with some of the private parties for their procurement service and their financing as well. And then we started naming that product. So we started calling it structured trade. Slowly, we started realizing that financing into commodities is large in terms of an opportunity, but at the same time, there's scarcity of that same financing in the agri ecosystem. So if you look at it, $100 billion private agri ecosystem, I'm not taking into account what the government buys for food security and PDS, and I'm not taking into account what the farmers consume for themselves. But if you only take into account what is privately traded, it's about $100 billion US. In that, the only formal financing that is there is only about $5 billion. So that's 4 or 5%. Now, if everybody got together and thought about it, if we pump more liquidity into that agri ecosystem for the balance 95 billion, and they got a return against it. So we said, okay, let's, through the structured trade mechanism, or now TradeFi has branded, let's pump in more equity into the system. So now we work with some of the lending partners who say lend to us, and then through us, we lend to that ecosystem. And over the next 3-4 years, that amount will grow to about 4,000-5,000 crores. We manage close to about 400 odd warehouses in the country across these 12 states today. Mm-hmm. And the commodity that is stocked in these 400 warehouses is close to about 9,000 crores. That we manage. As I said, on the stocking side, we deal with some of the state governments and some of the nodal bodies as well, who are essentially working towards MSP procurement, PDS distribution, and everything. So we support them on managing their backend in terms of managing their warehouses for them. And we have been doing it for last 8 years now. So we started that particular vertical, which caters to servicing the government in 2012. And we've been doing it since then. On the private side, we still support the ecosystem, traders, farmers, and larger clients where we can in terms of these 12 states again. And then our structured trade business, which also needs warehousing support as well. More central and west as of now. So the biggest states for us are Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, and Madhya Pradesh. These are the larger ones for us from where majority of our commodities stored. And in terms of profile of commodities also, I think major focus is, not focus, but I think availability and the quantum also is paddy, wheat, rice, maize, cotton, soybean, mustard. So essentially oilseeds and grains and cotton are the key deposits for us as of today. The way our structured trade business is today, essentially, we work with a lot of banks in India. We work with a lot of international lenders as well, and some of the domestic institutional funds. So I think that will still remain. I think there'll still be a large part of what we do going forward as well, because structured trade needs capital. What our intent is that this financing should also get supported by the retail segment in the country, whether it's wealth management, whether it's HNIs, whether it's individuals. They should have a portion of what we are able to create as an asset. So what securitization essentially does for us is it takes a large commodity, converts it to a piece of paper, which essentially is an investment instrument which anybody can access. So what PTC has done is it's created an investment vehicle which a bank can invest in and Ritwik can also invest in. And the PTC being SEBI listed, regulated by WDRA, is an A1 rated paper, essentially is a very highly credible investment vehicle that is available. So as I said, it'll become more and more publicly available instrument as the communication spreads. There is no consolidation or reduction of any sort. I think these 12 states are major agri-producing states as of today. Our intent today is to grow from 12 to 15 over, as I said, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu are already identified as the next two, and then one more. Because what we intend to do is in the 12 states that we are also in, we're not in all cities or districts or major producing areas. So first is to penetrate those 12 states to the maximum and provide services across the major areas that we can. And then, of course, when we are stable enough in those, then go to the next stage. So we'll go from 12 to 15. I think in terms of warehousing capacities, we'll keep adding capacities both from the government perspective, wherever we can support them in whichever state. And then, of course, on the structured trade side, we keep increasing our volumes as much as we can. So we estimate, I think, these two capacities to almost double up in the next 4 or 5 years, from about 9,000 odd crores to about close to about 20,000 crores, including both the segments, structured trade as well as our warehousing service put together. We are trying to obviously add more investors to the debt pool that we have through securitization deal as much as possible. And of course, then the institutional partners that we're doing. So I think that's on the radar in the near future. So the next securitization deal that we're launching end of this month, end of December, is a 50 crore PTC deal. And then post that, we're launching one more, which is a 20 crore PTC deal. I think overall we'll target close to, I think for next year, the whole securitization we're targeting is 250 crores. But all that contributes essentially to our the debt raising effort. So we are launching our blockchain platform in the next month or so. We're launching our e-auction platform to work with private and government entities in February. So, and I'm sure other companies are also working on that technology, but e-auction will allow, for example, I'll take a couple of cases. So if government is buying commodity on MSP, or if government wants to sell excess stock at any point of time to private traders, they would be able to use this and they would get the best possible price for the selling of commodity, and they would be able to penetrate deeper into villages through this because we'll have more of a mobile application which will allow. At the same time, if a private entity like somebody who's a biscuit manufacturer or a liquor manufacturer, if they want to buy commodities to back it up, they can use e-auction to do buying, which is the reverse auction. And they can use this platform because they'll have a lot of sellers on this platform to be able to sell. So e-auction just allows that facilitation of buying and selling of commodities in a more digital manner. So that's no contact. All the contracts are very well predefined. There is financing available for the buyers as well. And sellers are able to get payments almost immediately because these are all defined through nodal accounts.